In part 4, we will explore some of the individual differences in the experience of stress. Why do different people experience stress differently? In order to understand individual differences in the experience of stress, psychologists try to identify what are called moderators, variables that help explain the relationship between two other variables, in this case, between stressors and strains. For example, people who have high self-esteem tend to report less stress than people with low self-esteem. Self-esteem then acts as a moderator. A person's experience of stress can then be predicted by how they measure on that third moderating variable. Let's take a look at some of these moderators. Locus of control is a personality trait and refers to people's beliefs about whether they control what happens to them or whether the environment controls what happens to them. People with an internal locus of control tend to think things like, I'm in control of my future. I made a mistake. I'll do better next time. People with an external locus of control might think something like, it was out of my control. It was bad luck that got me the job. People who have an internal locus of control typically experience lower levels of stress and experience fewer strains. Researchers think this has a lot to do with how people who have an internal locus of control think about stress. They tend to believe that they can control the level of stress that they experience, and when they do, they believe that they can control how they cope with it. People with an external locus of control tend to approach stress as something that they can't change, they can't do anything about. There are several personal qualities that are related to lower levels of stress. People who have high self-esteem, who have a positive global evaluation of their self, and people who have high self-efficacy, who believe that they are competent, capable, and efficient individuals, they tend to have lower levels of stress. Type B personalities, people who are calm, patient, relaxed, tend to have lower levels of stress and are less likely to develop heart disease. And people who have a type A personality tend to have high stress levels. These individuals are incredibly ambitious, competitive, they can be impatient and reluctant to rest, which is one of the reasons why they suffer some of these strains that we just talked about. In fact, type A personalities are several times more likely to have heart disease as a result of job stress later in life. More recently, researchers have identified a collection of personality traits they call psychological hardiness. These traits help people overcome life's demands. A sense of control over one's environment, called internal locus of control, a sense of purpose and commitment to the job, and a tendency to perceive obstacles as challenges that need to be overcome, not as something that is daunting, something that is annoying. People who have high levels of psychological hardiness take on challenges and overcome them. These traits allow people to resist stress, and they don't experience it to the same degree that other people do.